Today's learning target is I can solve problems involving scale drawings. A scale drawing or a scale model is used to represent an object that's either too large or too small to actually be drawn or built to its actual size. So you can see here we've got a scale model of the White House here, right? We can tell it's a scale because if not, these would be giants. But when you have a scale drawing or a scale model, the lengths and the widths and all the dimensions are proportional to the actual object. So it's the same proportions just on a smaller size or a larger scale. So when we have this sort of drawing or model, we have what's called a scale. And the scale tells us what the actual dimensions are based on the model or the drawing. So let's just take this one for example. It says 1 inch is equal to 3 feet. So if that were the scale for this White House, that means for every 1 inch on the model itself, it's actually 3 feet. So if this were actually 3 inches right here, this window, so that would actually mean the window itself is actually 9 feet up and down. And let's say it was 1 inch going across, well that means it would be 3 feet in reality. So a very common place that you'll find a scale, like you see right here, is when you're working with maps. And I took this map here from the math book. And so we can see the scale here. For every 1 centimeter, that equals, in reality, 24 miles. So the question in the book asked, what's the actual distance between Hagerstown, right here, and Annapolis, right here? So what I did was I took a ruler and I measured it out here, and it was about 4 centimeters. And I measured in centimeters and not inches because my scale is in centimeters. So I know for every 1 centimeter it's 24 miles. And I found it was 4 centimeters. So to figure out what the actual distance is, first I'm going to write down what my scale is. 1 centimeter equals 24 miles. And I'm going to put M for miles. Now when I measured it, it was 4 centimeters. So now this is just like we did in the last lesson. Okay, now I'm wondering, I'm going to put X for miles because I don't know how many miles it is right now. So the last lesson we looked at how do we make things proportional. Okay, I want to make this proportional to this. And if you remember, in order to do that, we had to take the cross products. So we had to take those and times it by each other, and these and times it by each other. So when I multiply these, 1 times x gives me 1x, and then 4 times 24. I did up here, and that equals 96. Now remember, to make them proportional, we want these to be equal. So we want the 1x equals 96. Now remember, 1x is just the same as x. Okay, so x equals 96, and the label on there would be, because this was the miles, would be miles. So on the map, it was 4 centimeters. In actuality, it was 96 miles. So in this problem here, it says, we're going to use a blueprint here, and it says, on the blueprint of the deck, each square has a side length of 1/2 inch. So each of these squares has a length of 1/2 inch. What is the actual width of the deck? Now in order to solve this, we're going to need to use this scale right here. That's going to be important for us. Now one way that I could solve this problem is I could create a proportion, okay, or try to find a proportion here where I'd say 1/2 of an inch is equal to 4 feet, so what would 2 inches be? But like we say, there's always more than one way to solve a problem. And when I'm looking at this, if I know that each of these squares is 1/2 of an inch, and I know that 1/2 of an inch is 4 feet, for me it would be a lot easier just to think of it like this. This square is going to be 4 inches because it's 1/2 an inch. This one's 1/2 an inch, so that's going to be 4. This one will be 4, and this will be 4. So the actual width of this would be 4 groups of 4, 4 times 4, which would be 16 feet. And remember, that's the label for feet. Okay, this is inches right there, the 2 lines. So there's my answer. So in this problem here, it says a graphic artist is creating an advertisement for a new cell phone. If she uses a scale of 5 inches equals 1 inch, what is the length of the cell phone on the advertisement? Okay, so we can take a look here, and here's our model. And I know that 5 inches equals 1 inch. So 1 inch on the model would be 5 inches in reality. So my scale is 1 to 5. So 1 inch on the picture equals 5 inches in reality. So I can see over here in this picture here, it's 4 inches. Okay, so in the picture it's 4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to put that up here, and I want to find the actual length of the cell phone that's in the advertisement. Okay, so I want to make these proportional or equal. Okay, so remember I have to do my cross products if I'm going to do that. All right, so I get 1 times L, which I know is just L, and that means it's going to have to be 5 times 4, and that would give me 20. Now, what's my label here? Let's see, it was inches that I was dealing with, so the actual length would be 20 inches.